And we're live. I'm not really good at introductions, so I'll try. Um, so welcome to the top 10 films of 2015.
Woot
We did.
woot.
I did this. Yeah, I did this last year. So yeah, it's no really explanation. We're doing it again this year. Everyone introduce yourself. We'll start with PJ. We'll just go that way.
Hi, I'm PJ.
Hi. Bravo.
Beautiful.
Yeah, Justin.
Hello, I'm Justin. I have like a YouTube channel. I talk about movies. That's all I got.
What's it called? I'll subscribe to you.
Jay's Days, but my name is just Justin Adams on YouTube.
Yeah,
But
he could send you the link probably after we're done.
Yeah. Cool.
And Evan, introduce yourself.
I'm Evan, and I'm a nerd. That's it.
And I'm Avi, and I'm all of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Evan, you could probably, you could say your honorable mentions first.
Okay, so as I said before, but not in the
Yeah, I'll just go honorable mentions.
Yeah, I've got 20 honorable mentions. I'll go through them very quickly because I feel like a lot of these deserve to be said, even if they're
Alright.
fairly low. All right, Ant-Man, Krampus, which I loved way more than I thought I would. That movie was just so fun and so stupid, but so fun.
Yeah.
The Gift, Turbo Kid, which was a local movie, but it was awesome. Sicario, Trumbo, Spotlight, Love and Mercy, which is so good. Love and
Yeah.
Mercy is fantastic. It Follows, The Walk, Dope.
Yeah.
Dope is great. The End of the Tour, which is my second favorite screenplay of the year. Room, Brooklyn, Ex Machina, Straight Outta Compton, Paddington, which a lot of people forgot about, Everest, this little movie called The Invitation, and Bridge of Spies. And those are my enormous amount of honorable mentions.
That's a good list.
Thanks.
That's a good list of honorable mentions.
Okay. So, should I go 10 through 1, or what's the...
Yeah,
All right, cool. Sweet.
I'm
all right.
here.
No. Hey. Number 10, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. I actually rewatched this for like the third time today. It is so good. It's so much better than Spectre that it's actually a better Bond movie than the actual Bond movie that came out this year. It has a very good plot, but I think the main part that was just so fantastic about it is the action set pieces are ridiculous. Like, in all the trailers for the movie, they showcased it as this one scene where Tom Cruise clenches onto a plane. But that was the first shot of the movie, and it just gradually got better and better and better for each set piece. So I just thought the movie was fantastic. My number 9 is Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, which that was my number 1 for a very long time until I thought about it hard and I rewatched it, and it doesn't really hold up very well in the second viewing, but it's still a very unique Wes Anderson type kind of sad story that's also hilarious and has a huge heart and great characters, and I could totally relate to a lot of them. So definitely, yeah, that's a good number 9. My number 8, ironically, is The Hateful Eight. I saw this movie, I think it was in early November at a press screening, and I saw the...
performing at the Bell Center?
Nope! Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I don't have an answer to that, sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting.
Yes.
Yeah, you
Anyway.
continue.
Anyway, so I saw the Roadshow edition of The Hateful Eight, and I loved 3/4 of it. Like, it was some of Tarantino's best for 3/4 of the movie, and I wasn't too fond on the ending. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it was... I felt like they spent the whole movie building something up, and it kind of just didn't really pay off at the end. But anyway, it's a Tarantino movie, great dialogue, fantastic. My number 7 is Creed, which blew my mind completely because, to be honest, I thought it would be kind of horrible. I mean, I personally, the only Rocky movie I've really enjoyed is Rocky IV, which is known by a lot of people to be horrible. I just think it's hilarious.
Rocky 4. I hate Rocky 4.
Most people.
No,
hate
it's the
Rocky
best because of America.
No, it's
Yeah,
one of the very few movies I could enjoy completely plastered because it's
Yeah,
just Sylvester Stallone beating up Russian people. Anyway, so yeah, Creed. It was definitely my favorite Rocky movie, and it was so well directed and so well written, and it was just such a great movie. My number 6 is way lower than I thought I would put it, but Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Whoa.
I
What are you doing? Whoa.
I adored this movie. I love The Force Awakens. I'm actually wearing BB-8 socks right now, so I guess you could tell that I love The Force Awakens. It was pretty much everything that fans wanted it to be and more. But the reason it's my number 6 is because there are some noticeable flaws with the movie. People have pointed them out. Like, one of them is the CGI for Maz Kanata and Snoke aren't on par to some of the practical effects in the movie, and there's also some plot problems.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. It's just it's not. It's noticeable, which definitely took away from some of the scenes. So that's why it's my number 6. It's fantastic, though. Like, go see it. My number 5 is probably a movie that way more people should have seen, and that's Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is one of the best written movies I've ever seen. I'm graduating from high school this year, and my grad quote is actually a quote from the movie. It's musicians play their instruments, I play the orchestra, which basically makes me sound like a cocky douchebag.
Yeah.
But I just think it's a sick quote. The movie is just it's like an action movie of dialogue. Like, it's just so good, and the movie is way more compelling and way more entertaining than it has any right to be.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's why it's my number 5. Number 4 is The Martian. I didn't read the book, but I've heard incredible things about it, and I saw it at a super early screening, and I was blown away. Matt Damon gives an incredible performance. I actually hope he's nominated because he was fantastic in the movie. It's utterly hilarious. It has some of the best jokes of the whole year, and it's not even a comedy. That being said, the Golden Globes is considered one, but Golden Globes are weird, so whatever. Great effects, great story, just super smart. Overall, one of the most entertaining movies of the year. My number 3 is Inside Out, which is the only animated movie, that I consider to be very good that came out this year, other than Shaun the Sheep. But yeah, it was super emotional, literally, and like, you get the shitty joke. It was very emotional. It was very funny. It was very heartwarming, and it also had a lot of very good messages. Like, another animated movie I saw this year was Minions, and I have a fiery hatred towards that movie.
I honestly didn't hate it, even though I hate the Minions. I liked everything else besides the Minions. Is my quick.
All they say is banana.
I couldn't.
That's all
Yeah.
they ever
Yeah,
say.
Couldn't do it.
It's like 10,000s of me.
Like,
Yeah,
I think my main problem I have with the movie is there was, like, even like some of the worst kids movies have like an underlying message. This had none. It was just things saying banana over and over again for 2 hours. Anyway, that beside the point, Inside Out was the complete opposite of that, and it was fantastic. My number 2 is Kingsman: The Secret Service. It's one of the very few movies that I had a smile on my face the entire time. It was hilarious. The action was great. The story was great, surprisingly. It was an homage to James Bond and other spy movies. And it's just such a fun time at the movies. It's just fantastic. And my number 1 is Mad Max Fury Road. Sort of predictable because I haven't said it yet, but it's everything that needs to be said about the movie has already been said. It's one of the best action movies I've ever seen, and everyone has to see. It's amazing. So yeah. Woohoo. That's my 10.
Yeah. Okay, who wants to go next?
I'll go.
Okay.
Of course.
Alright.
Okay, Justin.
At number 10, I have The Big Short. Well, okay, first off, I should say, if you go on my YouTube, it's different because I've seen, like, all these other movies, so I rearrange stuff, so the video I have on YouTube, it's irrelevant, and this is not relevant. So, it's like,
Agreed.
So, number 10 is The Big Short. Again, this is, like, one of the ones I changed. I just saw it, and I can't fucking believe it's directed by Adam McKay. I don't know if I'm allowed to curse, I'm sorry. But, but I can't believe it was directed by him because I hate Anchorman 2. I'm sorry if you guys do, but
I know a lot of people do. I like it.
I kind of love it.
It's been on for a long time. Like, I saw the movie in the theater with my mom, and we were, like, expecting this movie's going to make us laugh, but it just had us jaw drop. We were just like, what?
Yeah,
Did you see the extended cut, though? Because that's even longer.
Yeah,
way longer.
I thought that was going to be better because I was like, maybe they'll have, like,
Come
more
back.
jokes.
Oh, no, it's not.
no.
But
He has said like this is his passion project. I think.
yeah, the Big Short was just amazing. Like, it like put in like, cause I was like 2004. I was probably like 8, so I had no idea what was going on. And then it kept on going all the way until like 2008, and I was like, oh shit, this was going on that long. Like, that's insane. So that movie just amazing, and it had great performances. Blah 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 blah. I compared it. It goes like American Hustle and then Wolf of Wall Street. It's like mashed together. Like, it's not it's not as provocative as Wolf of Wall Street, but it's as intense as American Hustle because American Hustle doesn't have like a lot going on, but it's just like a bunch of what's gonna happen next. All right, at number 9 is The Gift. I love this movie just because of Jason Bateman. Like, I thought everything else was great, but Jason Bateman surprised the fuck out of me. I cussed again.
Yeah, I wouldn't spoil it for anyone that hasn't seen it.
Oh,
like, I'm sure I haven't seen it, but I don't care.
I'm not going to.
Wait, so wait. Is cursing allowed? Just
Yeah,
please
you're
get
allowed.
get that through now. Because, like,
Yeah,
I don't
you're
think that
allowed.
his young children are going to be watching this realistically.
Yeah, no.
Don't let their mothers watch. There you go.
I'm bad at that. I'm not good at.
Alright, so cussing
Yeah,
is
so-
allowed.
I'd probably
so you're number 9,
I'd probably say we should. I'd probably say it's allowed, but try and keep it.
Yeah, I
on
don't
the
care.
minimum possible.
I don't curse, but yeah.
13 boys.
I'm gonna
Alright.
correct myself.
You just got Justin. You're number 9.
I'll slap myself whenever I curse. So yeah, the only like there's just this one scene with Jason Bateman that just really, I'm not gonna spoil it, but just really blew me away. Like, I did not know he was like, I always loved him, but I did not know he was capable of just being like that. I was like, whoa, dude, you should have gotten something, and he didn't. He's not gonna get anything, and it just makes me really sad. And Joel Edgerton wrote and directed it. No, that's just another thing that just blows my mind. These directors are just making me lose it. And at number 8, I have The End of the Tour. I don't know if any of you heard of this movie?
Yeah, it's true. I saw it.
I loved the end of the tour. It's so good.
Jason Segel. So, like, I did not know anyone can portray David Foster Wallace so
Yeah, I
perfectly.
didn't see it. So.
Like, I did not, like, I wasn't expecting that at all, and he nailed it. Like, Jesse Eisenberg was pretty much just Jesse Eisenberg, but they were still just both fucking great.
Jesse Eisenberg was Lex Luthor.
Wait, what?
That was like,
Lex Luthor
It's a
was
prequel
in
to
the
Batman
Tour.
versus
That's what we made.
Alright, at number 7, I have Steve Jobs. Just like everything that Evan said, the dialogue is amazing. I usually don't like Aaron Sorkin too. The only thing that I like is The Social Network, but I don't know, he just kind of bothers me. But Steve Jobs was fucking perfect for him. But 6, at number 6, The Hateful Eight. I saw this movie now like 4 or 5 times. I'm not like
Crap. That's 15 hours of Hateful Eight.
I don't. People say that's too long, and I'm like, it's not long enough. It needs to be longer. But I dragged my girlfriend to it literally last night, and the entire time she was like, "Oh my god!" And I think it was just because me being a dude, I just saw it by myself the entire time. Like, Kurt Russell beating up Jennifer. I forgot her name now. Jennifer
Yeah.
Jason. Like, I thought it
Jason
was
Leigh,
bad.
yeah, Jennifer Jason Leigh.
I didn't realize like how bad it was until I brought my girlfriend. Oh, this is bad. Her teeth got knocked out right there. That's some graphic shit.
Slapped me in the back of the forehead.
But yeah, it's great. The dialogue's amazing. Kurt Russell, man. Kurt Russell. Yes. I don't care if he sounded like John Wayne the entire time. It was the perfect John Wayne impersonation. The number 5, I literally just changed this because Evan went. I need to have that. It's Kingsman. It came out like so early though. Like, I think that's why people are forgetting it, because it came out at the same time as Fifty Shades of Grey, which is
Ugh.
yeah, we all love that one. But Colin Firth, church scene, just everything about that is just great. That kid that plays, I forgot his name, but the main dude, he's gonna be a star. I cannot wait to see what else he does. And at number 4, I'm just about to skip. Number 4 is Dope, and the only reason why I put that on there is because the title is Dope. It is awesome. If you haven't heard of it, look it up.
Right.
It's a thrill ride. Like, I'm not even gonna say anything about it because like the teasers, the trailers and stuff, kind of like after a while they started spoiling themselves. But the teaser trailer is the best because it doesn't say anything, but it's just like this like blend of these scenes, and you're like, ooh, this is gonna be interesting, and it is super interesting. And number 3 is Anomalisa. I'm hoping you guys have seen this. Have you guys seen that?
It hasn't come out in my hometown yet, but I have tickets to a screening soon, so I'm excited.
It is. Oh man, it is emotionally impacting. Have you guys? Has anyone seen Sandusky, New York? I think that's how it's.
Synecdoche, New York. Yeah, of course. That movie.
Oh, yeah.
I thought Syndicated.
That movie made me want to
CH.
just sit down in a room and try to understand what was going on for like 2 hours.
I feel like it's just because Charlie Kaufman had way too he had like all of the control because he directed it too. So I was kind of worried for Anomalisa because he was directing it. But I was like, then again, it's stop motion. I feel like this is gonna be awesome, and it is awesome. If you guys love Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, it's like it's just as good as that. It's really really good.
God.
It's
I'm
like
excited.
it's a blend of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and Lost in Translation. Like no joke. Number 2 is Creed. I'm a Rocky nerd. Rocky 4. I'm sorry, Evan. Rocky 4 really made me mad.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah. They're just both like, but Rocky Balboa is good, but Creed really fucking, it freaking knocks it out of the park, and it's awesome. I love it. Number 1, Star Wars. I'm not even gonna say anything about it. It's just awesome. I love the movie. I saw it. That's another one I've seen like 6 times now. I just spend way too much time at the movies, but. Yeah, it's awesome. I love it so much. The Harrison Ford is awesome. He's dope. But yeah, if you guys haven't seen the movie, then it's your part. But yeah, I love it. That's all I got. I'm done.
Okay, who wants to go next?
I have to go now. So
Okay.
bye everyone. Good
Thanks
talk.
for joining.
Nice seeing you all. See ya.
I did. See you, dude.
Okay, so who wants to go now?
I'll go.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a ton of honorable mentions, so
Okay.
I'm just going to get them out of the way. I got The Hateful Eight, the Peanuts movie, The Avengers, Age of Ultron, Ant-Man, Straight Out of Compton, Steve Jobs, The Big Short, and the one I had the problem with putting at number 10 that didn't and almost made it was Sicario. So here's my top 10. Number 10 was Inside Out. This was the movie that I've seen 3 times in the theater, and I took my niece and my nephew on the first time. And I tried to be a man because I cried so much and I laughed so hard that even my 19-year-old self at the time could not handle how much this movie was going to impact me. This movie was funny. It was hilarious. I didn't think Pixar could come back to the way that they were when they screwed up with Cars 2. And then I did not like Brave really at all. So they haven't been like on a stretch. I like that they took a year off to focus on this. And it's definitely a movie that I think everyone needs to see. My sister, who has a little daughter now, she's seen it and she even loves it. So number 9 was a movie that got switched from December to July. They didn't want to compete with Star Wars, and it surprised me in every way, and that is Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. When you're going up against a movie that is trying to be better, which I think the 4th one was so great at what it was, it still kind of is my favorite, because you kind of try to compete with the Burj Khalifa scene. In the first, what Evan said, in the first 5 minutes, you're getting a scene where Tom Cruise is being a badass, just hanging on a cargo plane, which I would do, but that's just me because I have no self-esteem. But this movie was everything I wanted it to be and more. Rebecca Ferguson, dear God, many things I could say about that, but I think she was great. She was fantastic. She was really good. Also, Simon Pegg was funny. He did a lot of funny stuff. I liked how Luther was kind of like the father figure in some ways. Jeremy Renner, I believe, Jeremy Renner was great as well. So, yeah, my number 9 is Rogue Nation. Number 8, I'm surprised a lot of people that I've seen are kind of not really putting this on the list, and that's Spotlight. This was the movie that came out, and it's probably right now the biggest Oscar film of this year. I think it's probably going to win. It's won so many. It is so really good. This is kind of comparing to 12 Years a Slave a few years back, which kind of did the same thing where it was really hard to watch. But this is like the best newspaper movie that I have about the newspaper business that I have seen since All the President's Men. It is just really good, and you feel kind of like you're involved in this in some sort of way, and it's really great. Mark Ruffalo, who's one of my favorite actors because the best performance I think he's ever given in his career. Michael Keaton was great. Rachel McAdams was great. It is just a really good movie. Number 7 is Kingsman: The Secret Service, especially what Evan and Justin said. This movie was freaking badass. Give it to Matthew Vaughn, who's one of the best directors out here right now, in my opinion, and he knows how to make a movie. I remember seeing this the day after Valentine's Day because I went on a date to go see 50 Shades of Grey, and I don't remember how bad that movie was because of my girlfriend at the time, and it was just awful. But I remember going with all my buddies the day after and seeing Kingsman, and I've seen it way too many times because it's on HBO now. I was watching a little bit today. It is so good. Like you guys said, that Freeburg Church scene I didn't even know was in the movie, and I couldn't breathe. My dad liked it. He said it was really good. He enjoyed it. One of my friends, his dad doesn't like these type of movies, and he loved it. So, yeah, Kingsman's freaking badass. Samuel L. Jackson, though, with the lisp.
Yeah, that was like my favorite non-Quentin Tarantino Samuel L. Jackson role.
Yeah. He had a really good year. Number 6 is Mad Max Fury Road. Now, don't kill me, people, because I love the movie. I have said many times I've loved this movie. It is kind of one of the best action movies I think I've ever seen, and that's saying a lot because the last good one that we had was probably The Dark Knight. And comparing it to that, it is probably, in my opinion, in the top 10 greatest action movies ever. This is a movie that took so many years and compares to when the production problems like Jaws and Star Wars had. This is a movie that definitely took what it was trying to do and did it in the best way possible. Tom Hardy still remains to be a badass as always. Charlize Theron is great as well. All the cast members, the dude from the first one who played in Morton Joe was fantastic. It's a really, really good action movie. If you guys have not seen it, pretty much where are you living? Are you living in a cave or something? Just watch the movie because it is so, so good.
I'm sorry. I swear.
What? Is that? It looks like Rocky. I can't tell. Never mind. You just continue, Chris.
Okay. My number 5 is actually a film that I have seen a few times. I got to see this a little early, and I think it comes out Friday in wide release, and that is The Revenant. I have said so much about this movie, how before the year that I said Leo was going to win the Oscar, that this was his year. All my friends have made fun of me, either it is online or anywhere else, that Leo is not going to win. He's going to win. The dude went through so much just to shoot this one movie. Yes, there is problems with the film. It's a bit too long. It's like almost 3 hours. It does seem very gritty. It's not for everybody, but it is one of the most beautiful movies shot ever. This is a really good movie. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's a good movie about a father-son story that you get to know in the first hour of the film. And not to mention one of the best scenes ever with a bear. And no, the bear doesn't rape, so I'm just going to say that now. I don't know where that freaking came out of nowhere from.
Because there was like an image and everyone, I don't know.
I don't know why they did that, but geez, I showed my dad that film because we got to see it again. He absolutely, when that scene came, my mom was watching too. She had to leave the room because she didn't want to watch that. It's just an amazing movie all the way around. If it's coming to you near you, definitely check out The Revenant because it is a big experience, and Leo will get the win, I hope. Probably will. We're getting into my top 4. Number 4 is Ex Machina. This came out back in April. This was a movie that completely made me wonder, can science fiction original films still work? And it did. Alicia Van Victor gives my favorite female performance of the year. She is absolutely fantastic as Ava. Oscar Isaac was fantastic as well. Donald Gleason was great. He's really a great upcoming actor. But Alex Garland, what he did is he's making this. I think I compare this. I think this is a bold statement, but this might be the best original sci-fi film that I probably have seen since 2001, and that is saying a lot. This is a movie that definitely has a lot to say about what is AI and what it's trying to be. You can tell he took a lot of what Kubrick did with 2001, and he's making a bold statement. So if you have not seen Ex Machina, it's on Amazon Prime Video right now, and it's $10 on Amazon. So I definitely recommend checking it out because it's brilliant. It is brilliant filmmaking. My number 3 is Creed. I have grew up with Rocky in my house all my life. My grandfather, who's sadly no longer with us, used to play that wherever I went. Like before I had a football game, a junior high varsity game, because I played varsity football, he would make me watch the original Rocky. This is the best film I have seen since the original Rocky of the whole franchise. I enjoy 2. I enjoy 3. I enjoy 4. 5 sucks. Let's not talk about it. And Balboa was a really good movie. And this is probably the best I've seen since. Ryan Coogler made a really good movie that I did not put back in my top 10 in 2013, which I regret, and I probably should have, and it will be now. That's Fruitvale Station. Really great movie. This is way better. This was his passion. This is his dream. I want to be a filmmaker someday. This is kind of the film that makes me punch as someone who's lost a ton of weight this past year and working out and all that. This is kind of I've listened to that soundtrack way too much because it's so motivating. And Sylvester Stallone, I went with one of my best friends. Her name is Kaylee, and I saw the film with her, and she cried. I cried. It's amazing. Sylvester Stallone, he has my vote for Best Supporting Actor. He should win, honestly, because this is a really good role, and this is the best role I've seen since Copland with him, and that's saying a lot. He's not just going for that action role. He's wanting to make a different kind of career, and definitely takes that to his advantage. My number 2 is The Martian. I pre-ordered this in Sicario, and I already got the digital, and I just love this movie. Give it to Ridley Scott, who is probably in his 70s, and everyone has said that he has not made a good movie. I did not see Exodus, Gods and Kings. I have seen trailers and all that, and it looks great on my TV. I just haven't watched it yet. Maybe I might check it out. It's on HBO, so maybe. I'm very saying that The Prometheus is a very underrated movie. It is a really underrated movie. I really enjoyed it. It was probably the first R I ever went to. Well, my dad, one of them. It's amazing, but The Martian is definitely his best film. Probably, I have to say probably since Blade Runner, to be honest. Because Blade Runner is one of my favorite movies. You can compare this to the original Alien because it's kind of in that top 3 because this is a movie that you have this kind of thing where it's a very hard thing. It's trying to be like a Castaway, but you have this thing where it's supposed to be so dramatic, and it adds so much humor to it. And Matt Damon was absolutely hilarious. He just made me laugh. There's a lot of this stuff that kind of was you don't want to be so over dramatic at points to where you don't care, and you don't want to be so over dramatic, but there's stuff where he's talking about he's alive and surprised and adding that kind of humor, and he's going I gotta science the shit out of this, excuse my French, but saying and stuff like that and adding humor, he does that into his advantage. In the way how you have a big cast like Jeff Daniels, Donald Glover, Kristen Wiig, Jessica Chastain, and how they each have a good role. They know how the film is trying to be, and it's definitely a great movie. It comes out on Blu-ray on the 13th. I bet a lot of people are going to be checking out who didn't see it in theaters because I saw it in IMAX 3D, and I don't really go to a lot of 3D, but that was definitely worth seeing in 3D. My number 1 is probably the movie I've seen 5 times in the theater. I remember the first time as a kid, I was 3 years old, and my mom made me watch this, the first one for the very first time. It is The Force Awakens. Star Wars. I have not had any more fun at a movie this year than I had at The Force Awakens, and that is saying a lot because I said all over this was my most anticipated movie ever. I was maybe 4 years old when The Phantom Menace came out for a long time, but this kind of, to me, this is what Star Wars was aiming to be when Disney got from Lucas Star Wars, we knew that there was something special and that he was really working hard to make this good. And J.J. Abrams knows what he is doing. I think they need to put him with more movie franchises in like a great way. He needs to do a lot more because they're going to look straight at this. This movie has already domestically beat Titanic, and I think it's supposed to be like Avatar sometime this week, and it's going to make it's already made so much money. And if you have not seen Star Wars, which I doubt everyone probably has, like, it's so great. Harrison Ford was fantastic. It was great to see him in another role again. Daisy Ridley was the best part of that movie. She's absolutely fantastic. I don't know why I keep seeing people saying Daisy Ridley is like their number one crush now. I don't know why people are doing that. It's
I don't think people are saying like she's too strong of a woman, independent woman. I'm like, what? That makes no sense.
Yeah. Well, if you didn't live in the '80s like I did, or like I did when I saw Natalie Portman, I mean that. Whatever, but honestly,
I think
she was great. She was fantastic. She was played like that strong female character, the best I have seen probably since Emily Blunt, Edge of Tomorrow. She's really, really good. And give it also to John Boyega, who came from Attack the Block, who knows how to be that kind of energetic guy. He's absolutely fantastic. Oscar Isaac was great as always as playing Poe Dameron. He kind of felt like the Harrison Ford type character in this movie. Absolutely fantastic film. BB-8 was fantastic. I mean, a lot of people were hoping he would be just so they could keep his toys. Kylo Ren, Adam Driver was great. The movie is fantastic. Yes, there are problems. The CGI is a little, yeah, but if you want to go to a movie, the grades don't really matter. It's about how fun you're going to have in a movie, and I have not had as much fun as I have had at Star Wars this year. I have seen it 5 times, and it kind of ties with Inception with the most I've seen in a theater. I'm going again tomorrow after some college work.
How many times have you seen
I'm going
it?
to break that record. So that's my list. Star Wars is my number 1.
Okay, who wants to go next, Eric or PJ?
I can go.
Okay, PJ.
First, honorable mentions. Kingsman, Inside Out, The Walk, Spectre, Steve Jobs, Trumbo, Beasts of No Nation, Trainwreck, and Cop Car. My number 10 is The Gift, written and directed by Joel Edgerton. You can't really talk about this movie at all without giving away the twist, so
Well, try not to.
I'll just move on to number 9, which is Ex Machina. I don't know the name of the girl who stars in it, but she's great.
Alicia Van Victor.
What?
I think Alicia Van Victor. I think.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, Alicia Vikander. I think that's how you pronounce
Yes,
it.
that's it. Yeah. Oscar Isaacs is great, and so is Domhnall Gleeson. And I just love how it's all set in this mansion, and it's so intense without being action filled, and that's what I loved about it. Number 8 is Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation. It's very rare that you get the 5th installment of a franchise be like the best one. I didn't think it could top number 4, but it did. It had great action. It looked realistic. The action was fairly realistic. Like, I want to talk about a scene, but I don't want to spoil it. But Tom Cruise is in a chase scene, and he's not quite all there, and he has to kind of, anyway. Number 7 is The Hateful Eight, Quentin Tarantino's, I think, 8th movie, and it's all set in this one room with this one lodge in the Old West in the middle of winter, and it's just mostly dialogue. There's very little action in it, but the dialogue is great. And I could listen to Quentin Tarantino dialogue for days and not get bored. And it is 2.5. It's over 2.5 hours, and it just flew by for me. Number 6 is Creed. It is the best Rocky movie since Rocky 1 and 2. I didn't think that they could repeat the formula so closely and it not feel cliched or tired. Michael B. Jordan is basically playing Rocky, and Stallone is playing Mickey. And even though they repeat the formula of the first movie, it's very effective, especially the fight scenes, which I think all of them seem to take place in one shot. I don't know how they did that, but you see like cuts open up and this, him start to bleed and stuff like that. I love the fight scenes in it, even though there's only like 2 or 3, I think. And number 5 is Sicario. It's about the DEA and the CIA trying to take down a Mexican drug cartel who are very dangerous. Anytime these guys raid the buildings, they're basically terrorists. These guys are really bad. And Emily Blunt is a reluctant agent who goes in and has a lot of questions, and she's not given a lot of answers, and you're kind of just as confused as she is during the movie. But once you find out what Benicio del Toro's character is all about, it becomes very interesting and has a great ending. Number 4 is Straight Outta Compton. I've been waiting for this movie for a long time because I wanted to. I was really young when NWA was popular when I was actually like a baby, but I grew up in the 90s with that kind of music, and I love Dr. Dre and I love Ice Cube, and I didn't know much about Eazy. He kind of died when I was really young, so what the movie is a great representation of the racial profiling that was happening at the time and how it kind of parallels today. It's just a great movie overall, and I just love the little cameos from like Snoop Dogg and Tupac and stuff like that.
But Snoop Dogg was great.
Yeah. His encounter with Suge Knight when they first meet is pretty funny. Number 3 is The Martian. I just found this movie to be pretty surprising because I love Ridley Scott. I kind of like his movies that aren't so well received, like that one with the whitewashing, The Gods of Egypt. Is that what it's called?
Exodus, I think.
Exodus, Gods and Kings.
Yeah.
I thought that wasn't like too bad. I even liked Robin Hood.
Wasn't it like 2.5 hours?
I think so.
No, that was Danny Boyle, I think.
But anyway, The Martian. I don't know how realistic the science is in that movie, but it seemed realistic. And Matt Damon had a really good performance. It was funny. I liked how his character wasn't negative. That that wouldn't be me in that situation. I would die like in 5 days. But I liked how his character had an optimistic view, and he used his own feces to make potatoes. That's gross, but you got to do what you got to do. Number 2 is Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Woohoo!
It is the best movie since Jedi, of course, because those prequels fucking suck. But,
You said no like the prequels?
One thing about the movie, you do feel George Lucas's absence. You do feel that like he hasn't had a say in it whatsoever, and it was a little bit of a rehash or a loose remake of the first one. And I get all the criticisms about the movie, but I love Daisy Ridley as Rey. John Boyega's alright, but I love Poe Dameron. He wasn't in the movie enough. I love BB-8. The movie's just enjoyable on so many levels for so many people that it's just great. That's all I can say. And number 1 is Mad Max Fury Road. It is one of the best action movies ever made. A common misconception is that most of the movie is practical. There is a lot of CG in that movie. The brilliance of it, though, is that you don't notice the CG. I've watched the movie 5 or 6 times, and I wouldn't be able to tell you what's CG and what's practical. But there is a video on YouTube, I forget the name of it, it's by some film students who show how much CG is actually in that movie and how well it blends.
Yeah, it's on Rock Jump Productions, Freddie Wong, and
yes, that's right.
that too.
And the best thing about the movie is the chase scenes. It's just like The Road Warrior, but better. And I didn't think you could get a better chase scene than the chase movie than The Road Warrior, because up until Mad Max Fury Road, I considered that to be the best chase movie ever made. And Mad Max is certainly not the best movie ever made, but it's one of the best action movies, and it deserves my top spot. So that's it.
Okay, Eric.
All right. So First things first, I'm going to mention one honorable mention. The movie Selma, that came out in December of 2014, limited release.
Yeah.
But in my area, it came out in the beginning of January. So
Yeah, I mentioned it in
mention
2014.
Yeah, I suppose it's 2014, but it doesn't matter if it's an honorable mention anyway.
Right. Because in my area, it came out in 2015, so I just wanted to mention that. Anyway, moving on. Keep in mind, with my list, I only got to see 11 movies this year, so not too proud of number 10, but let's move on to number 10, which is, unfortunately, Terminator Genesis. Now, I will admit, going into this movie, I did hear all the negative reception it was getting, and I personally did enjoy, I went with viewing it as, okay, this isn't going to be, the biggest, best Terminator movie. I went in expecting, a fun popcorn movie, and that's exactly what I got. So I did enjoy the time I had in there. Not incredibly, but it was, it was better than I expected it to be. Alright, so number 9 is going to be the movie Minions. It was like I said, it wasn't the best animated movie I had seen all this year, but it got a couple chuckles out of me. I had a decently fun time with it, but anyway, I'm going to move on to number 8. This is where I actually start to get a little more passionate about my list. It is going to be Jurassic World. Now, you might be wondering why I said a little more passionate about it. When I saw the advertisements for this movie and when I heard reviews of it, basically I was hearing that it was marketed as, as a Jurassic Park movie, but more as a monster movie type film. And being a big Godzilla fan, I love monster movies. And going into it with that mindset, it's a pretty good monster movie. It's got a lot of fun action. Chris Pratt is very, very enjoyable in that. The scene at the end where they bring the T-Rex, Indominus Rex, and Velociraptor together is the entire price of admission alone for that movie. I had a fun time with it, and I got on Blu-ray recently, and I still had a fun time with it watching it recently. That's my number 8. 7 is Spectre. This is actually the first James Bond film I've ever seen, and it was a nice little dive into it. The plot got confusing near the end of it, but I did enjoy all of the acting and the characters up until that point. The action sequences were very creative, very fun, and it was a great introduction to the Bond franchise for me. Alright, number 6 is going to be Avengers: Age of Ultron. Now, I'm actually surprised this one got lower than it did. I expected it to be pretty much number 1, but there are a lot of films that really surprised me this year. Avengers, that being said, though, was still an amazing, amazing movie for me. It was probably the movie, Circumstance with Friends, I've seen it the most times in theaters this year, and each time I went back to it, I still enjoyed it. I personally think it's, on par with the original Avengers. I think a lot of the story elements, even though it doesn't have as much of a wow factor, still handles it much better than the original Avengers, and delves more into the emotion of the characters.
Eric?
So sorry about that. I had to get interrupted for a second.
Okay.
But yes, number 6 was Avengers: Age of Ultron for me. Number 5 is going to be... Oh, wait, did I skip a number? Oh, no, I didn't. Number 5 for me is going to be the Peanuts movie. This is, like I said, one of the big surprises I had of the year, because if you just look at the trailers of the movie, the trailers were not appealing whatsoever, and looking at the reboots that happened all through this year, I was not having my hopes up, and was greatly surprised with how just charming this movie was. It was incredibly well animated, especially changed the style, be more 3D-like. It honestly feels like it's just three short Peanuts specials kind of mashed into one, which I love the Peanuts and all the different ways it goes about the movie. One thing that really intrigued me about it was that I worried that it would be too fast because a lot of movies nowadays are having a little more faster pace to them rather than the slow pace we've had way in the past. And it is faster paced than a lot of the old Peanut specials, but it does take its time with it, and I do like that part of it. And also the fact that they were able to work in the original 2D animation in a little creative way was I really enjoyed that. All right, number 4 for me is Ant-Man. Knowing nothing about Ant-Man, and I was going in, didn't know what to expect with it, and was really I quite enjoyed my time with it. One of the things that I did like that it was a Marvel movie, which the problem I was noticing starting to approach with Age of Ultron was that all the Marvel films were just getting bigger and bigger, and this one quite literally is downsized. It's just condensed into like its own little story. It doesn't worry about what's going on with everything else in the world. It just focuses on the main characters, happens around them. You get a cameo from one of the Avengers, but it's only a cameo, and they focus just on the plot line of the characters, which are all very enjoyable. The action sequences in this movie, being the ability to change the sizes, are all very creative and very fun to look at. Especially, big example, the scene where they fight on the Thomas the Train Engine set and just change back and forth between small and big. It was just such a creative movie, even for Marvel, that I really enjoyed watching it. Number 3 for me is Pixar's Inside Out. By far one of the best anime movies I've seen in a long, long time. It's what can I really say? What can I really say about it? I love how it's so. It's what's so great about it for me was I loved how it managed to tell a great story both with the emotions themselves as characters and while still focusing on the family's story. It focused on the venture to try and get Joy and Stannis back to the control room, get everything back into order. But everything that was happening with them served as a perfect metaphor for the emotional struggles the entire family was going through in the movie, and that just was, I don't know, I just loved everything about that movie, and I had a wonderful, wonderful time with it. Number 2 for me was Star Wars The Force Awakens, by far my most anticipated movie of the year, and what can I say about Star Wars that hasn't already been said? It's got amazing practical effects. It is a turn to glory for Star Wars. The acting is incredible, both the old cast with people like Harrison Ford and even the new actors like Daisy Ridley and John Boyega. They're going to have a great line of work ahead of them after this, 100%. It was probably some of the most fun I've ever had in a movie, and just the moment you sit down in your seat and I saw the opening scroll, I knew what I was in for, and it was one of the best experiences I had this year, but not the best experience for me. My favorite movie this year was Kingsman: The Secret Service. I found this movie about a month before it came out, saw the trailers, I'm like, I haven't seen one of these type of movies. It looks cool, and I had the opportunity to see it. No idea what the plot was, no idea what anything about it was, and it introduced not only one of the best action movies I've ever seen, but it also showed me how fun you can make like that original movies, even if they're based off of a already existing franchise, because it is obviously well about it, it's a parody movie, but it stands on its own legs. Now, because it clearly knows that it's a parody of James Bond's movies, it still stands on its own, has its own plot line, doesn't need to focus on that in order to be a good movie. It has some of the most fun action sequences I've seen in movies, with the church scene, for example. The acting is great. I loved it. The setting, I just loved everything about this movie, and it was the biggest surprise I had this year. I had no idea it was going to be this fun, this entertaining, and it is my favorite movie of 2015.
Okay, so I guess I'll go unless I'll just check. Bryce, does your microphone work? Okay, I guess not, because he logged on, but he said his device is having a little problem. So I guess I'll just read my list. I guess I'll give a few honorable mentions. I saw, let's see, 41 films this year, yeah. So I guess I'll give a few honorable mentions. Age of Ultron, Peanuts movie, Spy, Trainwreck, Jurassic World, Sleeping with Other People, Concussion, I guess, and then that's where I guess the good movie stopped. Goosebumps was good, also SpongeBob, Paddington. Yeah, that's about good. My number 10 is Ant-Man. This is a film that like I was really excited for because my favorite Marvel movies are Guardians and Ant-Man. I haven't seen some of the earlier stuff in the cinematic universe. But I really like when they do just really fun movies. I wasn't as big on Winter Soldier. I still like it. I just wasn't as big because it just isn't as like fun. It isn't just like funny and stuff. It does get a little darker, at least from Marvel, as far as Marvel films go. This is something that people, I think both Ant-Man and Age of Ultron have about like a 75 to 80, and I think it should be way higher. Both of those movies. This is a movie that I found they're like between this and Guardians, they're my favorite Marvel films. I don't know which I like more. I might give a slight edge to Guardians, but it's a film that it's like it never felt dull. It like every joke they had, most of the jokes they had seemed to be really spot on. I don't have much more to say. It was just I liked it more than a lot of other people. It was really funny. My number 9 is The Walk. This is a film that I don't want to say it's getting bad reviews because that's like an 85%, but even like the good reviews had like a lot of negative to say about it, and I really didn't find any problems with it. I give it like a 9 out of 10. I give it like a 9 out of 10. The Walk, but like people were complaining like about Joseph Gordon-Levitt didn't need to be cast as like the guy, but then again, why did they cast Will Smith in Concussion when they could have just gotten like an African or whatever?
Joseph was the honorable mention. I forgot. The Walk.
Okay.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt in that movie not only speaks like perfect French.
Yeah.
His accent is identical to the actual guy's. He just doesn't look like him. He's the perfect guy for the role.
Yeah, like from the trailer, it looks like, oh no, are you never gonna get used to it? But no, you get used to it within like 5 minutes at the most, and then you're just like watching the
all year.
Yeah, and then you're just like watching the movie. And people complain like, oh, that it cuts back to him. But I was like, if you made it too similar to the actual documentary, Man on Wire, then it would just be that. I haven't seen that yet. I'll check it out probably.
Really good.
But if you just made it exactly that, then it would have just been exactly that. You need to change it up a little bit. I didn't see this in theaters. I should have. And even without like seeing it in theaters, like without 3D or anything, just seeing it on my laptop, it's still really good. So this brings me to my number 8, which, yeah, I should mention a couple of these are sequels that I haven't seen the originals for, but I like them regardless. And that's how I'm judging it, how well I like the film, not what it's like a sequel to. My number 8 is Mad Max Fury Road, which I did like, and I'm not going to say because it's not what people would think. It's the exact opposite of what people would think, and it has nothing to do with the fact that there's no story, because I would say there is too much story, and I wish it was just action. Because it does cut back like every now and then. I don't know, but yeah, I do really like it. It is a really good action movie. I just wish it was a little bit more, but I still really do like it. There's not much more I can say. Maybe it's because I didn't see it in theaters. I don't know. But yeah, it was still really good. like it was a fun little like thrill ride for 2 hours. But then I don't know. It might be like one of the best movies I wouldn't rewatch. It's not like something that I don't really need to see it again. My number 7 is Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
What?
This is I have a confession. I've only seen one other, and it is the original Star Wars. I won't call it A New Hope because
Yeah, no.
that's not what it's called.
Okay.
But what's it called? This I did like more. It's the only film I have seen more than once in theater since I saw it with my father. He said it's his favorite Star Wars film. Because it's like more like he likes the other one, like the other original ones, but this one's more like focused and stuff. Which might have been my problem with the original one. I don't know. I still did like it. But yeah, Force Awakens, I give it like a 9 out of 10. It was really good. I wish I could talk more about it. But unless I've seen like all of them, I probably can't. But yeah, I really liked it. Yeah. It's just a really good movie. Some of these I can't. If I did my worst list, I probably could talk more because then I could rant. My number 6 is Kingsman. Probably the most fun I had watching a movie this year. With the first half, like, maybe if the first half was as strong, I would have put it, like, even higher. But, but the second half, it has, like, 2 of the greatest scenes this year, or, like, the church scene and, where all their heads blow up. It's such a fun movie. Everyone in this, movie. It's not going to get nominated for any Oscars or anything. It's just a really fun movie. And that's all I can really say about it. My number 5 is, and I know my number 5 is Creed. I know I'm from Philly and I should see the other Rocky films, but just as a movie, I was like, it's just good as a boxing movie.
You should probably go hide for a while.
What's it called? It is really good as a boxing movie. Not even compare. I'll watch Rocky eventually, just like I'll watch the other Star Wars movies eventually. But yeah, it is really good as a boxing movie, and it's like not just as a Rocky movie. I'm assuming people like it as a Rocky movie, obviously, because everyone has it on the top 10 list or near it. It's just really not much more I could say on it until I see the other ones. It's just a really good movie. My number 4 is The Big Short. So, yeah, this is a film that it's like, you may go in thinking, oh, why do I want to watch a film about like the stock markets? I know nothing about stock markets, but they do explain it a lot with like having like all those celebrity cameos and stuff. Just to like explain, like they do kind of come out of nowhere because it's just like, here's a celebrity to explain this exact scene. But it's really a good way to get around it, because I was watching Adam McKay on like Oscar Conversations, and he was explaining how he got like. Have any of you seen it? Have any of you seen the Oscar Conversations? He was explaining how he got it to like work. Like he went to like his wife or something, and he explained it to her, and she said, "Oh, I understood." And then he went to his daughter. And he kept explaining to her, and she never understood. And then one day he came back, and she's like, "Oh, that's pretty interesting." So he figured out how to explain it to the audience that doesn't care about stock markets would understand.
There's a Hollywood Roundtable, all
I
about.
want to see that. I haven't seen that one yet.
Short, like it's on YouTube. It's like 37 minutes long, and they go full in depth on it. It's pretty good. Margaret Robbie scene though, that was probably one of my favorites of the year because. For many things, but like she's one of my biggest crushes right now in Hollywood. So I didn't even know she was in the movie, but to see that she was in the movie, I think that was funny. So
yeah, yeah. What's it called? My number 3 is Steve Jobs. Yeah, this is a brilliant. What's it called? This is a brilliant movie by Aaron Sorkin about Steve Jobs. It never felt dull at any point. His writing is pretty amazing, and Fassbender deserves an Oscar. I haven't seen Revenant, so I can't judge. But out of what I've seen, I know most people have Fassbender like number 2 on like just behind him.
Yeah.
Everyone did a great job bringing this story into a great movie, and this is what the Ashton Kutcher Steve Jobs movie should have been. They knew exactly what to keep in, and it didn't feel like Saving Mr. Banks. While I still like Saving Mr. Banks, it didn't feel like how Disney did it. Like they made like Mr. Banks like a saint, like a perfect person. They actually showed Steve Jobs like that he isn't like perfect, and that like a lot of people didn't like him.
Asshole.
Yeah. Overall, it's a 10 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. My number 2 is The End of the Tour. I can't say much about this because I don't like. Based on just the movie is really good. If I knew if I read David Foster Wallace books, I probably would have liked it even more, or maybe I wouldn't have. But yeah, as is, I don't have much to say about it. It's just a really good movie. Jason Segel, it does a really good acting job. I don't know how he did as the person, but he does a really good acting job. And Jesse Eisenberg. I want Segel to get nominated, but he's not gonna. He's like ranked like 15th for like all these like lead actors or supporting. I think he's lead. I think they're both lead technically. But okay, my number 1 is. Let's see if my poster is in frame. Yeah, Inside Out.
My favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, really, I did like a marathon for all the Pixar films. I got to Cars 2. I was like, I'm not finishing it because I'm seeing it like since I'm Jewish, I had to like get ready for Sabbath, and I was seeing it like an hour before that started. And I was like, I'm not gonna get through it. I'm not gonna watch it the next
night. Not to see Cars 2 is a good excuse.
It's like I'm sure it's not terrible. Just like for a Pixar movie, it's just not good.
It's terrible.
It's bad. Don't see it.
Yeah.
Oh, where did we go?
Did you leave?
Yeah, you did.
I guess I should put the disclaimer out there that I wanted to go see all these movies, but I had a very limited pool to pick from for the movies I have seen. So that is why Terminator Genesis was actually on my list.
I've seen maybe about 103 this year.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry.
Well,
Maybe around there.
movies, so.
Wait, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, phew. I almost lost that hangout again. Don't worry. Okay, my number 1. So, the problem with Good Dinosaur is you see everything coming, and even if you think it's scary, it's not because you see everything coming, and it's so just bland. And that's the problem. Inside Out, like Good Dinosaur is the 16th Pixar movie where just 2 people get lost on a journey. The thing with Inside Out is, like, I'm not complaining that it's 2 people getting lost on a journey, or that, oh, it's what if this thing had emotions, what if emotions had emotions this time. But it's like, well, it's actually technically what if people had emotions. But yeah, the problem is with A Good Dinosaur, it's just so predictable. I'm not complaining that Inside Out is like every other Pixar movie, or that it's like Herman's Head or whatever, because it does different stuff. And like honestly, out of everything I've seen this year, it's the one I've rewatched the most. Like I've seen it 3 times already, not in theaters. I've seen it once in theaters. I think I'm seeing it again this month somewhere else. But yeah. It's a really good movie, and that's all I could really say. So, just if anyone hasn't seen it, I know all of you probably have seen it, but just check it out. It's really good. So yeah, that's our hangout. Everyone could say where you could find where you could find all of you guys.
I got a question.
Media. Oh, what, Chris?
Can we give our top 5 worst of the year?
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, if anyone has.
Because we got nothing better to do, probably.
Yeah, sure. Fine. I'll just give my bottom 5 quickly. My bottom 5 is number 5. This is like least worst to worst, but it's 5 to 1. My number 5 is Scout's Guide, which like all of these are comedies except my second worst.
I enjoyed it.
It's the problem with Scout's Guide. I had like a rant for my bottom 10 like on a different channel, and it was just like. All the comedies, at least last year, the bad comedies had some variety. This, I couldn't tell anything apart. It was just awful. And that's all I could say. Vacation, it was the same thing. Hot Pursuit, it was the same thing. It was just a bad comedy. Number 2, Aloha. Boy, did this movie kind of stink. Someone brought it up good. It was the person it was someone that was here, but his mic wasn't working. But what's it called? He said it feels like three good movies. Just they're together they don't work out. It's like if you had like three separate movies, just like
It had a
in the
lot
same.
going for it. Like the trailer made me want to see it, but there was like Alec Baldwin. I don't know if he was in the movie, but there that scene in that trailer really wanted me to see if that was the way they were going. But then it ended up because they were just trying to get something good so people could see it. Because Sony
Yeah.
obviously is pretty much having a tough year. So
Yeah, my bottom one is unfinished business. It's also just like I don't know. If you like it, that's fine. I don't like bad comedies. And like comedies are the most subjective, but if I hate a comedy, I really hate a comedy. And if I like a comedy, I really like a comedy. That's why comedy is my favorite genre, just because it's the most wide. Okay, so who wants to give their bottom five if they have?
I can do it.
Okay.
My number 5, like
Fine.
I have my top 10, and it was pretty big because there were some great films, and then there was piles of shit this year, like really bad. But as Christian Harloff would say, it stoinks. My number 5 was probably my least favorite horror movie that came out this year. I love horror. Sinister 2. It was the last movie I watched this past year. I just actually watched it the other night. Oh my god. When you're following something that's trying to be like what made the first one so freaking good and terrifying, and then you see that guy who went to go do Doctor Strange, they need to stop doing sequels if the first guy does not want to come back to do it, because obviously there's no point. My number 4 is what Avi was said. I am kind of a comedian. Like, I go around town and do a lot of like stand-up because I love doing it. Unfinished Business was a movie that had so much potential. And in the end, freaking, when you're, the best part of that scene is the donut scene, and that's like the first 5 minutes, then you got like nothing going for you. I didn't see this in the theater. I caught it on HBO, and it was just awful. Vince Vaughn is one of my favorite comedic actors, and there's just like so much going for it. And then Dave Franco he's a really funny guy. He was terrible. It was just a very bad comedy, and I just can't recommend it. I did not see Vacation. Like, I didn't see that at all because I didn't think I should. But honestly, yeah, I just don't see Unfinished Business. Number 3 was the biggest pile of disappointment shit of this year, and that was Fantastic Four. There was so much going for this movie, and people have said, oh, it's not that bad. The first half, there's a lot going for it. If you like that kind of stuff, like you got Miles Teller, who came out, who did a really good movie with Whiplash, which was my favorite film of last year. He is a great upcoming actor. You got Kate Mara, who's a fantastic actor. You got Michael B. fucking Jordan, excuse my French, who's a really good actor who redeemed himself with Creed, which when you only have 2 Johnny Storms who are the best part of that movie, then you got nothing going for it. You got The Thing, which looked even fucking worse than the guy from the last film did. The movie is just a huge mess, and Doctor Doom, oh my god. They had so much writing on this movie, and now we probably won't get another one for like 20 more years. And it's kind of hard to see that just give the freaking thing back to Marvel, because obviously you're not getting nowhere. You have made 4 movies, and you can't make a single good one. So that is mine. Number 2, I have a pretty shitty movie, and that is 50 Shades of fucking shit. Because the only reason why it is not number 1 is because I just saw a movie recently that topped number 1. But I went on a date to this movie. She wanted to go for Valentine's Day, was my ex. And oh my god, there is just so much after that movie. Like right after, we got coffee and we were saying how much shit that movie was. Because honestly, if you're into that kind of stuff, then good for you. But if you're trying to make something that's Twilight fan fiction, then you got something that is even bad, because it's just a huge nightmare. I expect a
you
ton
literally
of
started
Razzies.
as Twilight fanfiction is the most funny part.
I expect a ton of Razzies coming up for this movie. And my number 1 is a movie I just recently saw. My mom wanted to watch it. I told her okay. and I regret every second, and that is Hot Pursuit,
I
starring
know that was my number, like, but
Reese Witherspoon and Sofia Vergara. Dear God, okay, I'm done. Dear God, it's bad. It is awful, and it's a movie I do not recommend. So that is my 5.
I'll go next.
yeah.
Therapeutic.
Yeah, I don't know how much time we have left, but you could read your list. Your bottom 5.
I'm gonna probably log off right after this.
Okay.
My number 5 is this movie called Accidental Love. Do you guys like David O. Russell?
Yeah, I do like him. I didn't see it though.
It was like he took his name off of it. It's just that bad. It's a bad movie. Jake Gyllenhaal's in it. There's Jessica Biel, Pee Wee Herman.
Paul Rubens, wow.
Yeah, Pee Wee was the best part though, guys. He was. You guys want to?
Well, he's always the best part.
I say go see it just for him. At number 4 is 50 Shades of Grey. Just like everything that the guy before me said, Chris, he nailed it. I saw it with my ex too, and we were both like, that was so horrible. Like,
I have friends, like, I have my best friend who's like, I'm trying to get a thing with her. She actually really liked it. And I have friends who loved it.
It's shot nice. It's shot nice. You could say that.
So, it's worse than Twilight. And if you've got
honestly,
that's worse than fucking Twilight, then
you have to picture this. Imagine if, like, Tommy Wiseau's The Room got, like, an Oscar-winning director and everything, but you had to stick with that script and stuff. That's what it kind of is like, because it's shot nice, and it's like...
The Room has better, like, stuff than this does.
No, like, it's filmed well, like, this movie, and it's shot well and
Watch
everything.
that any time of the day.
Even the actors aren't that bad, but they have to work with this script, so... Yeah, okay.
well, number 3 is The Cobbler. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it.
Adam Sandler, there was so much potential to it. Same thing with Men, Women, and Children. Like, these are 2 Adam Sandler movies that were coming out the same year, and people were like, "Oh, they're serious." One is with Tom McCarthy, who's now he totally
Spotlight. He did Spotlight.
as Adam Sandler still shit. Which, you know what? I didn't even see Spotlight because I was like, I don't believe in you right now, man. I'm still mad at you because of The Cobbler, but I still need to see that. But
There were like 4 Adam Sandler films that came out this year that I didn't realize.
Yeah, I have 2 of them on here. It's just, it's so bad. Like they like had nothing going on with it. And Adam Sandler, like the best part about it is that Adam Sandler's actually good. Like, he's not bad, but everything around it is just so horrible. And number 2 is Fantastic Four. I even hate the stuff at the beginning. Like I don't think that Fantastic Four is like that. I was a huge Fantastic Four fan. Movies. Like I was a little one when the movies came out, so I was like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. But I was really into the comics and the cartoon and stuff, and so I was like, oh man, they're gonna make a new one. It's gonna be good because Michael B. Jordan, I love him. I had no problem that they were gonna have a black human. I was so down with it. But what was that?
I'll be right back.
Okay.
And then at number 1 is The Ridiculous Six. I don't know if any of you have seen it or heard of it. It's on Netflix. It's an Adam Sandler movie. It's
pretty bad.
It's the worst thing I've ever seen. It is like I did not laugh once, and there's so many people like Harvey Keitel.
I'm so oh, hang on. Oh, you could finish. I was say after.
I'm done.
Oh, I was just gonna say I'm so happy the other Adam Sandler you didn't film wasn't Pixels because I honestly don't think it's that bad.
Same. I really don't. I don't think it's that bad either. I
do
really.
If you like, I understand if someone dislikes it, but I see people like that. I've seen like 200 films this year, putting it like worst film of the year. I'm like, really? No, I've seen less, and there were far worse.
Yeah,
like it's not great. I don't blame you if you dislike it, but saying it's the worst film.
Yeah, and I saw it with a group of friends too. I saw Pixels with like so many people, and we were all laughing. Like we were all like, "Whoa," because we saw the reviews and we were like, "Oh, this movie's gonna be so horrible." But we went into it and we were like, "Whoa, this was actually not bad at all." Like, and it looked good too. It was directed by Chris Columbus, the guy that did Home Alone and shit. So I don't think it was like I thought the ending was definitely that's where it goes really Adam Sandler, but I thought the stuff in the middle and stuff like I bought like the smart cars and stuff. It was just I thought it was better than the Ridiculous Six.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, okay, so, PJ, do you have a bottom 5?
I have 6 because
Okay.
Justin just mentioned one that I completely forgot about. So I had
That must mean it's pretty bad.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the worst comedies for me are stuff I forget about.
Okay, I'll start. Poltergeist is number 6 because it's a pointless movie. Just watch the original. It didn't do anything new or fresh. It just copied everything. Pointless. If you're not going to do it better, don't do it at all. Number 5 is Fantastic Four, which, if you weren't aware of how bad the movie is, the first act of the movie, you might think that you're in for something really good, and then it just completely changes direction. Doesn't make any sense at the end. I mean, really doesn't make any sense at the end. Like I don't know what was going on with the producers and the director, but the end of that movie just is total shit. Number 4 is Vacation, even though some parts are funny. The part where the wife is drunk at the college.
Yeah, that was funny.
Only part I laughed at. So that was shit.
I laughed at the Chevy Chase stuff because just Chevy Chase is amazing in any movie he's in.
Wasn't he only in the movie for like 2 minutes?
Yeah, he was in there at the end because they visit the parents. But he's just, if you watch Brad Jones Midnight Screenings, he's on that guy with the Channel Awesome. If you watch him, he loves Chevy Chase just because whenever he's on a film, he just like trolls like the heck out of the movie. Like when he was in Caddyshack 2, there's just a scene where he just like says like I'm gonna go now and then just leaves for the rest of the movie. Yeah, so Chevy Chase is good in any movie.
Yeah, 3 more. The Ridiculous 6 is at number 3.
Okay.
It is a movie that tries so hard to be funny. Like, so hard. It tries so very, very hard to be funny and fails every time. There's more. I don't care about spoiling it because it's a shitty movie.
Yeah, who cares? It's a comedy.
There was a one part that I laughed at. One part, and it's Harvey Keitel when he gets his head chopped off. And that's it. Number 2.
I didn't bother.
Bro,
Number 2 is Terminator Genesis. Because it's a movie that makes no attempt whatsoever to make any sense. No, I correct myself. It does make several attempts to make sense, but fails every time. It is a frustratingly bad movie. Like, it totally destroys 2 or 3 of the other ones, I think. Completely does that thing where it erases past movies. I mean, that works with X-Men Days of Future Past, or maybe a reboot of Star Trek.
It's weird because it kind of does like that. Erases kind of the timeline of them, but it's on a separate timeline than the Terminator 3, so Terminator 3 didn't happen before the events of this movie, so it's like, what is even going on?
And Kyle Reese has memories from 2 different timelines. It makes no sense.
Well, like Jason Clarke, like he was in my second favorite, like Apes. I love Apes on Horses. But he's so fucking overused in this movie. I mean, you get the director for Thor 2. You're expecting a good movie. This movie was fucking bullshit. I mean, you got the freaking Queen chick from Game of Thrones, and you got Jai Courtney, I mean, but you're expecting something good. You got
the most annoying thing about Terminator Genesis is the fact that they have to say every single line that was ever uttered in every other movie to let you know that this is a sequel to those movies. And I'll be back, and come with me if you want to live, and hasta la vista, blah, 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 talk to the hand, whatever. It's just so crappy. But anyway, I just want to quickly say the number 1 is The Cobbler. Justin reminded me of that piece of shit movie because it is not only one of the dullest, unfunniest, stupidest movies ever made. Adam Sandler, you can tell he just does not care. Like, he's even in The Ridiculous 6, he's kind of into it, even though that movie's crap. But in The Cobbler, he's just, like, so depressing to watch and to listen to. And Method Man is in it, and Method Man is good in almost anything, but he was very uninteresting. And
the guy who directed Spotlight actually directed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm serious. He
Spotlight
actually
was alright,
directed
but I didn't. That's a big difference.
Yeah. Okay. So, since everyone's done with the list, so we'll just about wrap up. Where can we find all of you on social media? Oh, do you have any more?
Yeah.
Well, Eric said he only saw 11 films.
I saw 11, but I can touch briefly on like a top 3 that I didn't like.
Okay.
So, like I said, because I had such a small pool of movies I saw this year, 3 I did not particularly enjoy. Minions. I did like I said, there were a few chuckles I got out of this movie, but the rest of the entire movie, it was a snooze fest. I was just bored out of my mind most of that movie. It had so little soul to it. I loved the first Despicable Me movies, and I had seen so many good anime movies that year, whether they be like old ones or Inside Out, and it just heavily disappointed me when I saw it. Then number 2 was Terminator Genesis. Oh my god. What can I say? This movie just frustrates me because it is everything I don't like about time travel movies, while also actively making the previous films of its franchise worse. Like,
X-Men's the
Terminator
best.
1 and Terminator 2 are great, but I feel like this is one of those, when people say, oh, I can't believe this came out, it's like ruined my childhood, ruined my memories of these movies. I feel like this is the first movie I've seen where I actually finally understand what those people say, because everything with this movie's plot line is just makes no sense. It makes so many attempts to try and explain it, but then causes way more problems and makes it even more confusing than it already was.
I think J.K. Simmons from Whiplash should come and yell at that kid from that movie.
Yes. And my least favorite movie of the year, the only one that didn't make my list, is Tomorrowland.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
I honestly was bored out of my mind through this whole picture. The entire movie was I don't even know what I could say to describe. Like, this is one of the few movies that, at least with Terminator Genesis, I can at least say that had some action sequences that made me interested and that got some entertainment out of me. At least with Minions, I could say it got a few chuckles out of me. But this is one of the few films I've ever seen that just, the entire thing, I just didn't care. The entire movie was just getting to Tomorrowland, and it just wasn't, it just didn't have, like, the whole time it was just trying to explain what was going on. Oh, let me explain, or what's going on. And when they finally, but when they get there, it's great, right? No, when they get there, Tomorrowland is completely empty. It is dull. It is lifeless.
I enjoyed it. Like, the
parts
first
of the
half
movie
was
were like
pretty.
the first 20 minutes where it's just like the beginning of, like the first 20 minutes at the beginning where you get to see Tomorrowland in its full glory. Those are the only parts that are entertaining, and just after that it was a complete disappointment, and I just had no fun at this movie whatsoever. So
I
it is
enjoyed
my
the first
number
half.
one.
Like, a lot. Like, the first half was great because Brad Bird directed it. He was great,
Oh, yeah.
but the last half, yeah. I mean, I enjoyed the movie. It was good. But, yeah, I mean, that first half was strong, and then the second half kind of just made it go.
Right, exactly.
I
Yeah,
don't
okay.
know why he didn't do Star Wars. I mean, he did this instead of Star Wars, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we should probably wrap this up since I don't know if this broadcast will just stop like the first one did, but because this one's been going on for about an hour 20, and I know when I usually do hangouts, it stops around like 20 minutes before this.
Hey, we're going to do this.
So yeah, no, it's good. It's still live, and I've been checking. It's been live. So yeah, everyone, where could we find you on social media if you want to give out your social medias?
You
Anyone?
can find me on Twitter at I'm Justin _420. Weird. I guess I can already say.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, you can find me at the Chris_Day. I also have a YouTube channel called The Film Junkie. Just type in The Film Junkie as one, then you get that. We have a pretty big announcement coming up later tonight, about probably 9 o'clock Central Time. Look forward to that. I had a lot of fun shooting that today. Yeah, just hook me up in there. I also have an Instagram. You can find me at DayManOfWisdom on Instagram. So, yep. Thanks, guys.
Eric, anywhere?
If you want to listen to more of my random ramblings, you can go to my Twitter page at Derpington_TM87. it's a smasher tag, so I do
Yeah, I'll probably just put them all in the description.
yeah. I'll just type it to you. Although if you go there, be warned, it's basically a bunch of Smash talk and memes. So
Yeah.
Smash talk. Yeah.
And PJ.
You can find me on social media at PJ Maher. That's Maher. I just want to note that the first broadcast and some of this broadcast, the camera switching was off. Like somebody who's not talking will be full screen. Like in the first video, I'm in it the entire time.
That happened last year. Remember, you were in the entire screen. I don't get that. Sometimes it doesn't do it. Sometimes
You're
Google
gonna have
doesn't.
fun this.
But anyway, I had fun.
Yeah, so yeah, you can find me this channel, any social media site, either SAKSKIDZ or AVISAKS. We'll see you guys later next year. Bye.
All right. So
See ya.